27-year-old had been stabbed more than 20 times.
Welcome back to CRIMETOBER. Tonight's story takes us to Philadelphia. Imagine you in your apartment building, a locked door, you're stabbed over 20 times, and they ruled your death a suicide. I first found out this story on Hulu, and it left me with more questions than it did answers, and it's not making sense to me. This is the story of Ellen Greenberg. Ellen Greenberg was a 27-year-old who was bright and bubbly and was a first-grade teacher in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She was described as being very kind and gentle and always lit up a room anywhere she went. Now, her family and friends say she had a tight circle and she was said to be married to Samuel Goldberg. I just realized like their names are very similar. Greenberg, Goldberg. That's in my mind. I was like, am I saying it right? But anyway, but behind that smile that she had a lot of anxiety. She had recently started seeing a psychiatrist where she was put on meds to battle her anxiety. But still, no one would believe that Ellen was suicidal. It never made sense to any of her family or friends that knew her. So on a snowy afternoon on January 26, 2011, Ellen left work early because of an incoming snowstorm. Later that evening, her fiance Sam would come to the apartment, but he could not get in because the apartment was locked from inside the door. And if y'all know what I'm talking about, those switch locks, sometimes like if you lock those, you know, no one can really get in. So he decides to text Ellen and say, what are you doing? Like, I cannot get inside the home. So about 30 minutes or so, he was finally able to get inside the apartment. And what he would find would be very horrific. He would find Ellen laying on the floor with a knife stabbed inside of her chest. He would find Ellen in a horrific scene that no one wants to see. She was in the kitchen, laid up towards the cabinets with a knife inside of her chest. It had appeared she'd been stabbed over 20 times, including stab wounds to the back of her head and neck. There were also some bruises around her arms and legs, some new and some old.
To forensically look at the wound in her back of her head, and they said it was post-mortem. They also did come back after being pressured by non-biological authorities that this wound was other things. And it might have been. But one of the things is it was post-mortem.
So does
Ellen was murdered.
Despite all of that, the medical examiner ruled Ellen's death suicide. So at first, police didn't understand, right? They get to the scene, you can't get into the door. You know, it all makes sense as Sam tells it, right? You're trying to get into the door is latched, you're not able to get in, and you're finally able to get in, you know, I believe through the help of, you know, the people in the apartment complex, right? So it's not really in your mind, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like she most likely, you know, killed herself. But then you start to get these questions. How does someone stab themselves 20 times, especially in the back of the neck, you know, and then you like keep going, like you go like this, like, huh? And some of her wounds showed defense, like, so it wasn't making a lot of sense. Initially ruled it kind of like suspicion, but the case was actually closed by it being the manner of death, suicide. So Ellen's parents had fought very tirelessly to get the truth out because, like I said, it was not making sense. How does one stab themselves 20 times, especially like the back of your neck, your spinal, all of those different things.
Number two, Sandy just pointed out the struggle. Her wrists were badly bruised, like someone was holding her wrist so they could
like restraining her?
Right, exactly. Those are also defensive wounds that she was defending herself while fighting to get away from it. No other DNA was found on the knife. This was a knife in a house. This wasn't a knife outside on a street corner of Delancey Street. Let me finish.
The crime scene was staged.
The apartment was locked from the inside. It was a swing lock. I can lock a swing lock with a piece of dental floss from the outside by just putting it through and swinging the lock.
One expert even says it's impossible for her to keep stabbing herself after the spinal wounds. The family has discovered so many inconsistencies that do not match, like blood spatter. It does not match the crime scene photos. And if you watch the Hulu documentary, there was a scene on there where they said the crime scene was cleaned up by like those people that come and clean up blood and everything. So that was a little weird, like it was quickly cleaned up. So the Greenbergs, like I said, have fought for justice tirelessly because they do not believe that their daughter committed suicide. So in 2019, the family actually sued the medical examiner's office and the city of Philadelphia to change the manner of death. They believe that it needs to be changed from suicide to homicide or undetermined because it's not showing that she committed suicide. The pushback has been very constant. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like they do not want to reopen that case, y'all. Evidence points to self-infliction. I don't think someone can stab themselves 20 times, especially in the back. And if I find the photo, I will post it. There's just no way. It's just not making sense to me. No, I don't believe it. My forensic science intuition is telling me she did not do that. I don't believe it. Nope. Many forensic scientists that have reviewed this case all have said the same thing. If this is suicide, this is one of the most bizarre suicides they have ever seen. And me personally, I would reopen the case because it's not making sense. And now that that documentary came out, it even puts it into fuller perspective that Ellen did not commit suicide. There's just no way.